The background image you choose for your phone can change your life. It's the one image you're guaranteed to look at over and over every single day, which means it might be the most underestimated piece of real estate you own. Picture a glass jar, a jar filled with folded slips of paper, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Each one contains a number, and each number represents what it actually costs to achieve a goal. The price, maybe it says 10,000 push-ups, maybe it says 1,000 miles, maybe it says 100 stories written, maybe it says 1,000 boring days of putting money somewhere and not touching it. Imagine you could reach into that jar, pull out a note, unfold it, read the number, and at the snap of your fingers, your body or your skill or your bank account would transform into the version that exists on the other side of that number, the version that already did the push-ups, the version that already ran the miles, the version that already wrote the stories. Wouldn't that be something? You'd probably reach in over and over again. You'd pull out note after note. You'd collect transformations like trading cards. In an afternoon, you could become a musician, an athlete, a writer, a millionaire, all because you finally knew the price and could pay it instantly. When we are on day 3 of a new habit, the mirror usually tells us a lie. It tells us that nothing has changed. The lack of external validation can feel like trying to build a house in the middle of a dark forest where we cannot even see the bricks we have already laid. The jar changes that, because numbers are walls. On one side of the wall is who you are now. On the other side is the version you keep imagining. The brick wall stretches up higher than you can see. It stretches left and right beyond the horizon, and someone hands you a chisel and says, "Start chipping." So you chip, and you chip. And after a week of chipping, the wall looks exactly the same. After a month, after a year, the wall doesn't seem to care about your effort. The wall doesn't send you progress reports. The wall just stands there, indifferent, like it was built specifically to outlast your motivation. What the wall doesn't tell you is that it's only 10,000 bricks thick and you've already removed 847. But because you can't see the other side, because there's no window, no meter, no countdown, you assume you've made no progress at all. So you set down the chisel, you walk away, and the wall remains. Things are much harder when the challenge is emotional instead of numerical. I think why we abandon things in the first place comes down to something almost embarrassingly simple. We can't see the wall shrinking. This is what happens to most goals. They die because we can't see the horizon getting closer. They die because we're excellent at lying to ourselves along the way. We redefine what the goal meant. We decide we never really wanted it. What if we created our own countdown? The jar might be imaginary, but the numbers inside it aren't. In hindsight, there is going to be a number to get the goal. Don't know what it is? Guess. Overcompensate. Write 100 stories for a start. Not enough? Set a new number. How about 1,000? What if progress isn't about feeling inspired? What if it's about watching something shrink? That shrinking needs to live somewhere you can't ignore. Not in a notebook that closes, not in an app buried behind notifications, but somewhere unavoidable. A screen you look at every day. A background that quietly says, not what you want, but what remains. We could choose to invite a number into our daily lives. We could go to an image generator or a simple design tool and create a background for our phones that says 9,988 push-ups remain. Every time we check the time or a notification, the number is there, staring back at us. It is no longer an abstract dream of being fit. It is a specific debt that we are paying off. As we execute, we update the count. 998 becomes 950, 950 becomes 800. There is a profound psychological shift that might occur when we stop looking at how far we have to go and start watching the remaining balance shrink towards zero. It is the difference between staring at the peak of a mountain and watching the miles on a GPS tick down. One feels impossible, the other feels inevitable. The number shrinks, slowly at first, almost imperceptibly, but it shrinks. And because it's in front of your eyes, because you can't look at your phone without seeing it, because it's the first thing you see in the morning and the last thing you see at night, you can't pretend the wall isn't getting thinner. You can't lie to yourself when the math is right there. And in existing, it creates a relationship, a conversation between today and the other side of the wall. Sometimes it might feel childish to reduce life to countdowns, but life already runs on them. We just hide them behind words. One day, the number reaches zero, and zero is change. What could happen if we always had a number in mind? What if we treated our lives as a series of purposeful descents towards zero? When the number is visible, quitting feels like abandoning a countdown. It feels like walking away from a clock that's still ticking. It feels like leaving a story mid-sentence. The number haunts you, not in a cruel way, in an honest way. It sits there, unchanged, waiting patiently for you to come back and subtract one more. Once a number is visible, it cannot be unseen. Once it starts shrinking, it refuses to grow back. And what about the wall itself? What happens when the number finally hits 0? Here's what I imagine. You wake up one morning, you look at your phone, and instead of a number you see nothing, or maybe you see the word complete, or maybe you see a picture of the thing you've become, the proof that you were on one side of a wall and now you're on the other. Then you'd realize something. The jar isn't empty. There are more notes. There are always more notes. You could reach in again. You could unfold another future. You could pick another wall and start another countdown. Countdown after countdown. Wall after wall. Answer honestly. What is on your phone background that is so important that you aren't putting a countdown there toward the thing you want the most? It's a net positive. Why not do it? The people who have what you want, whether knowingly or not, they all stood on one side of a wall once. They all had a number they couldn't see. They made it shrink. They subtracted one at a time until nothing remained. The wall has a thickness. There is a number of bricks between you and the other side. And if you make that number visible, if you put it everywhere, you can't ignore it. If you subtract from it every single day until nothing remains, well, that might be as close to magic as any of us ever get. Because transformation was never about the snap of a finger. It was always about reaching into the jar, reading what was written, and choosing to subtract anyway, one at a time, until the note reads 0, and then reaching in again.